Now on CoastTV News.
New theater home. We look at the deal Rehoboth Beach is considering and how city officials hope it keeps the popular Clear Space Theater in the nation's summer capital.
Sheltering second chances, what one committee in Georgetown is doing to address gaps in resources for the homeless.
We made it to Friday, Delmarva, and it's a cold start with temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s. Sunshine and cool temperatures continue today, but I'm tracking a milder trend over the weekend and when our next chance of rain rolls in.
Summer Safety Summary. Several beach communities are giving updates about their patrols during the summer season. How effective were they, and the new asset that improved service.
This is CoastTV News Today.
And welcome to our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. It is Friday, October 17th, 2025.
You just heard Chris say moments ago, we've hit Friday. We have a great fall weekend in store.
We do. After this week, off to a rough start with weather, the end of the week. That's what we always ask Chris for. We're like, you know what, Chris, just give us a good weekend. Weather.
Because it seemed like the opposite in the summer. Great Mondays. Rainy Saturdays.
Yeah, Chris, but this weekend's looking warm too.
Yes, we're actually going to see a warming trend over the weekend. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. A pleasant good morning, Delmarva. It's Friday. The weekend is knocking on our door, and it is a cold start out there. We're at 50 in Cambridge, but further inland, you can see temperatures are at 38 Harrington, 38 Redden, 42 Milford, and we're at 42 in Long Neck, even dropping along the beaches here, 47 in Bethany Beach. Not seeing any widespread frost. It's been rather breezy overnight, so that's preventing that frost from forming, but we're seeing wind gusts anywhere from about 10 to 20 miles an hour across the area. We're still under the influence of high pressure, clear skies and plenty of clear blue skies through the morning and afternoon today. As high pressure sinks southward, we'll see more of a southerly flow kick in over the weekend. We're up to 42 by around 8 a.m. for your lunchtime, 57 degrees, and only going to do low 60s once again today. The only difference is we're not going to be as breezy as what we saw yesterday on the peninsula. Over the weekend, it will be dry and beautiful. With that warming trend, we're going to be pushing mid-70s by Sunday, and then our next chance of rain rolls in, but that doesn't happen until late Sunday through Monday. We'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later on the newscast. Matt.
All right, thank you, Chris. We got a live look now at Rehoboth Beach. This is the boardwalk, and nobody's out there right now. No walkers, no joggers. A key piece of culture that is focused today in the nation's summer capital. Our top story this hour, it is the future of the Clear Space Theater, and we could see action today by Mayor Stan Mills and the city commissioners. Up for review is a deal that was presented last week, which would provide the theater a facility on the current site of the Cape Henlopen Senior Center on Christian Street. The end game here is to keep the theater in the city and deter the theater company from going forward with a proposal to relocate in Lewis.
Here are some key details of what is titled as the Public-Private Development Agreement between the City of Rehoboth Beach and Clear Space Theater Company. The lease proposed is a 30-year triple net land lease with 2 10-year options. That is a long-term agreement where a tenant rents undeveloped land. Clear Space will construct a new performing arts center of roughly 40,000 square feet on that parcel. The Clear Space Theater will have the freedom to select its own architect.
Assessing the 2025 summer season for the Rehoboth Beach Patrol. This afternoon, they're expected to present their report to the mayor and commissioners. And in that report, the patrol says they were able to meet their staffing goals this year. The patrol will also review its second-place finish in the United States Life Saving Association Mid-Atlantic Championships, along with the improved service they say came from the new Comfort Station.
And let's take a look at some of the key pieces of data the Rehoboth Beach Patrol plans to review. These are from Memorial Day weekend through September 21st. The patrol had 26 major EMT responses, and they say they had 173 saves, which is the most in 4 years.
And just to the south of Rehoboth, Dewey Beach is also giving a presentation on its beach patrol this summer. According to the patrol, they had 15 open water rescues, and they responded to 32 major medical situations. There was an average of 26 lifeguards staffed on a daily basis.
Last night in Georgetown, continuing work on helping the homeless find a home, the Supportive Housing Issues Committee met for the second time since its formation. Supportive housing is for people recovering from substance use disorders or those who came out of jail and remain on parole. Areas they worked on included identifying where services fall short and reviewing a report from over 10 years ago.
Where we are from the 2012 task force report, which was pretty comprehensive on the subject of transitional housing, supported housing in Georgetown.
The committee plans to continue reviewing Georgetown's housing needs and explore potential policy changes, with the next meeting scheduled for November 13th.
This morning, the Federal Aviation Administration will continue its work in determining the cause of a small plane crash. 3 people died after it went down near Bath Township, Michigan. According to authorities, the plane crashed around 5 p.m. on Thursday. It was near an intersection, and they say they're still unsure where the plane was headed.
We are getting a live look at Washington, D.C., where later today, President Trump will end a busy week by meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky.
Yeah, Trump also announced he will meet with Russian President Putin to find a way to end the war.
NBC's Alice Barr shows us today's meeting could bring more military might to Zelensky.
President Trump wading back into negotiations over the Ukraine war, hosting Ukrainian President Zelensky today at the White House, and announcing a second in-person meeting with Russian President Putin in Hungary in the coming weeks, after what he called a very productive phone call with Putin Thursday.
We want to stop the killing. 7,000 people a week. Can you believe it? We want to stop the killing.
The fighting in Ukraine has only intensified in the 2 months since the last Trump-Putin summit in Alaska, and the president has repeatedly voiced frustration with Putin for keeping up the attacks.
I'm very disappointed in him because I thought this would have been an easy one to settle.
Frustration sometimes directed at Zelensky, too, who is expected today to press for long-range Tomahawk missiles that would help Ukraine strike deep into Russia.
I don't know what we can do about that.
President Trump citing American need.
We can't deplete for our country. So, they're very vital. They're very powerful.
Russia has warned any Tomahawk transfer would significantly damage U.S.-Russia relations, though Zelensky said he believes the threat of the weapons had forced Moscow to resume negotiations. Zelensky also noting he hopes to build off President Trump's success brokering a Gaza ceasefire, as the president responded to deeply troubling videos of Hamas conducting public executions, clearly not disarmed. The president writing, "If Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, which was not the deal, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them," though he underscored U.S. troops would not be involved in the fight. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And President Trump posted last month that with the support of Europe, Ukraine was in position to take back all of its territory from Russia.
This wooden walkway on Surf Avenue in Rehoboth Beach is set to be replaced. City officials tell us concrete was considered for the project, but the city decided to keep the classic wood design after speaking with homeowners. The project is expected to cost about $18,000 and should wrap up by the end of the year.
It's homecoming weekend in Milford. High school's homecoming parade begins tonight at 5:30, and according to the city's police department, you should expect minor traffic delays there while the parade travels from the Milford Middle School to the Milford High School football stadium.
And we're just getting started in this hour of CoastTV News today.
Coming up, cool things to do from diving dogs to dancing zombies, what you can add to your weekend plans.
Also, contaminated surf. Why California ocean water is brown, as surfers had no issues in trying to catch some waves.
And city security moves. What are the next steps in Rehoboth Beach to increase safety to areas that draw large crowds? There is First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono, and he's in the Weather Center. We check in with him next.
Good Friday morning, Delmarva. It is a cold one out there as we take a live look into Cambridge. 50 degrees there. That's actually one of our milder locations, and you can see temperatures are going to be holding steady in the 50s over the next few hours, up to 54 by around 10 a.m. under mostly sunny skies. Well, taking a look at the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, we're coming down through the tail end of the season. First time in 10 years we haven't had a U.S. falling hurricane this late in the season, but we've had 12 named storms, 4 hurricanes, 3 of which were majors Erin, Humberto, and Gabrielle. And we had impacts from Erin. If you remember back in the summer, we had coastal flooding, beach erosion. Now, as we go deeper into the season here, as you can see, as we go into October and then the tail end of the season, wrapping up the season in November, the final month, see, usually we get development in the Caribbean Sea, Bahamas, just off the eastern seaboard. So we'll have to keep a close eye on things as we round out the season. Taking a run this morning, we're looking pretty nice. We're looking at temperatures generally in the 30s and 40s to start, but we got the green lights through the afternoon with plenty of sunshine. We'll talk more about the rest of the weekend in my full 7-day forecast. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. Later today in Rehoboth Beach, city commissioners could move to authorize a contract for a security program. Plans reviewed last week include installing a swing or drop-down gate arm and replacing bollards along Rehoboth Avenue and the boardwalk. The estimated cost for Phase 1 is just over $1 million, with the initial money coming from savings on the Beach Patrol project. If the contract is awarded today, the next step is to issue a notice to proceed by November 1st.
A heads up for drivers on Route 1 near Milton for the last week of the month. Tell that is work scheduled to begin on Monday, October 27th. The department says crews will install pavement markings and signs to reconfigure crossovers on Route 1 between the Broadkill River and Red Fox Lane. According to DelDOT, this will improve safety by reducing conflict points. During the work, drivers should expect delays due to lane closures.
Spotify is announcing plans to collaborate with Sony Music, Universal Music, Warner Brothers Music, Merlin, and Believe to develop responsible artificial intelligence products. In a press release, the company says the move will empower the artists and songwriters they represent and connect them with fans who support them. Spotify says it is making significant investments in AI research and product development. However, the company did not specify what AI tools are in development, but say all products will put artists and songwriters first.
The federal deficit edged lower this year, thanks in part to President Trump's tariffs. According to the Treasury Department, the budget deficit slipped to nearly $1.78 trillion in fiscal year 2025, and that's down $41 billion from the prior fiscal year. The revenue from the tariffs soared to $195 billion, and that is a sharp increase from the $77 billion they brought in last year.
Well, some of us may have that heat cranking this morning as we make our way off to school and work. Temperatures beginning in the 30s and 40s. Plenty of clear skies through the morning and afternoon as we get up once again into the low 60s, tracking milder temperatures over the weekend. And when our next chance of rain rolls in, my full forecast right after the break.
Time is 6:17, and here is a live look at the pre-dawn scene in Cambridge. And Chris, I know you have some good weather to tell us all about, but this morning I did have to go with that heavier coat. It's a little chilly out there.
Yeah, we're feeling it this morning. Temperatures in some areas away from the coast are in the upper 30s. Not seeing any widespread frost this morning. We have seen some breezy conditions, so that has helped prevent that. But generally, we see our first frost on average in Georgetown right around the 23rd. First freeze usually comes around the 10th of November. We're at 44 in Milton, 38 Redden, 40 Bridgeville, and we are at 46 in Bethany Beach. You can see winds right now gusting upwards of anywhere between about 10 to near 20 miles an hour, a little bit gustier along the coast, but we're not going to be dealing with the gusty winds we had yesterday. We had some gusts upwards of 25, 35 miles an hour, especially along the beaches. We do have small craft advisories up for the entire Delmarva coast. Those run through about dinner time today, and then along the Chesapeake Bay, they are up through noon. We're clear, we're dry, and we're going to stay that way over the next 3 days, all thanks to high pressure that's going to be sliding to our south, and that's going to allow more of a southerly wind flow. Our next weather maker is this cold front extending across the plains. That's actually going to produce some severe weather across portions of Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee over the weekend. We're at 51 right now in Rehoboth, dew point 37, so it's very dry out there. 50 by around 8 a.m., and we're at 54 by around 10 o'clock this morning. Only doing low 60s once again today, so below average temperatures. Again, not as windy as what we saw yesterday. 64 Salisbury to 62 in Ocean City. Making your way out to any high school football action this evening. It's going to be a gorgeous evening. Clear skies, jacket and hoodie will do. We'll have good weather and calm winds with those clear skies. We're at 62 in Long Neck by around 4 o'clock, and we're going to see plenty of clear skies overnight. Just a few high clouds roll in for our Saturday, but a very nice day. Seasonable temperatures By Sunday, notice the southerly wind flow kicks in and we're back up into the mid-70s, so that's going to feel pretty nice. Winds today gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour. As we go into Saturday, notice the wind direction changes more out of the south, and that's going to allow for that milder air to kick in through the weekend. And then by Sunday, a breezy, mild day with gusts upwards of 30 miles an hour ahead of that front. 69 on Saturday, we're at 70 on Sunday. Now the rain, the good news is it holds off till overnight Sunday into Monday morning. We're going to be looking at some wet conditions to start our Monday commute there. Could see some moderate to heavier rain. It's going to be a quick hitting system. It should be out of here by midday on Monday. We're at the 71 behind that system on Tuesday. We'll have another front that comes through late Tuesday through Wednesday, and that's going to allow for temperatures to fall back into the 60s, mid 60s by Wednesday. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. In Southern California, brown water is not stopping surfers from riding the waves. A rare storm which brought a huge amount of rain to the region is causing contaminated water to filter into the ocean in Malibu. The Los Angeles County Department of Public Health is urging beachgoers to stay out of the water for at least 72 hours. Officials say the beaches could be contaminated with high levels of bacteria and chemicals. Large amounts of debris and trash washed up on the coast. Cleanup efforts are underway.
Recent flooding took center stage at Thursday's annual meeting of Delmarva mayors. The forum was held in Worcester County, but it was run by the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Chicoutimi officials say low-lying neighborhoods on the south side of the island are taking repeated hits, and the town is pushing for federal attention to speed up long-planned protections.
Once the government gets back open and they get a few things on track, I intend to be that squeaky wheel that's going to keep on squeaking until we they either push us out the door or they give us what we need.
Mayor Bowden says Chicoutimi has permits and funding requests for about 700 feet of new bulkhead.
And coming up, diving dogs and dancing zombies. Yeah, that's what your weekend plans hold, so stay tuned for cool things to do.
Today, DelDOT will begin work on the Rehoboth Avenue Bridge over the canal. That's the area you see right here on your screen. The agency says the work is a part of a statewide bridge painting program. DelDOT says Rehoboth Avenue will see shifts and closures Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. There will be detours to help drivers get around, and they say that work will continue through early 2026.
And let's talk about the summer parking situation in that city. We're just over a month from when the meters were turned off in Rehoboth Beach. Summer 2025, parking revenue was down a bit for the city. Overall, Rehoboth Beach made just under $8 million, which was about 300,000 fewer compared to 2024. Over 13,800 permits were sold this year, and that is down for the second summer in a row. If you go back to 2023, people paid for 21,000 of them.
Well, stepping outside the door this Friday morning, it is a cold start, a bit on the brisk side, especially in Lewis. See those winds gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour. We're at 44 right now, dew point 35. Winds sustained at 4, but we've seen some gusts as high as 20, 25 along the coast. But a gorgeous start to the day in Fenwick Island, Ocean City. Clear skies are up to 57 by around your lunchtime. Not as windy as yesterday, so that is good news. Wall-to-wall sunshine through Lewis, Rehoboth, topping out around 61 degrees, and a gorgeous day in the Bay. Cambridge 61 by around 5. Crisfield 60 degrees with those sunny skies. We have Ellen Perlman, Dewey Beach, Delaware. You're the winner of our CoastTV weather umbrella. And as always, you get your latest forecast by dialing the First Alert weather phone. We'll talk more about the milder trend over the weekend coming up in the next half hour. Matt and Elisa.
That sounds like some great weather there. Hey, there's a range of events on Delmarva this weekend. Some are cute, some are creepy. I'm not meaning you. You're not creepy.
Oh, thank you, Matt. I really appreciate that. Well, Coast TV's Christina DeRobertis has the scoop in this week's Cool Things to Do.
This weekend is going to be both adorable and spooky because, after all, it is October. But we'll start with adorable because Brandywine Valley SPCA is hosting Bark on the Board Saturday morning in Rehoboth Beach. It's a super fun event with dog diving competitions, a costume contest, and of course, adoptable pets. Now for the spooky, Hudson Fields in Milton is going to be taken over by zombies on Saturday night. It's Milton Zombie Fest, and this year's theme is Apocalypse. There's freak shows, food trucks, and more. or you can head to Houston on either weekend day or both for the Delmarva Folk Fest. It's a musical event, but there's also going to be crafting and family-friendly activities. Southern Delaware Therapeutic Riding's 9th annual Barn Dance is on Saturday. It's a fun-filled fundraiser with barbecue, dancing, and more, and proceeds benefit equine-assisted therapy programs. Camp Rehoboth's block party is back on Sunday from 11 to 4. There's going to be dozens of vendors on the second block of Baltimore Avenue with performances and art. Entrance is free, but donations are encouraged. And you can find event details, tickets, and more over on CoastTV.com. All you have to do is click on Cool Things to Do.
Now on Coast TV News.
Keeping the drama. How Rehoboth Beach plans on preventing the popular Clear Space Theater from relocating outside the city.
Addressing access gaps, the areas where a Georgetown committee is setting its focus to help address a concerning homeless situation.
We made it to Friday, Delmarva, and it's a cold start with temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s. Sunshine and cool temperatures continue today, but I'm tracking a milder trend over the weekend and when our next chance of rain rolls in.
Reinforcement in Rehoboth. What could move forward by city officials later today in the attempt to secure an area that draws large crowds each summer?
This is Coast TV News Today.
October 17th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
6:29 a.m. We had a wild start to the week.
That's for sure.
We made it through that, and
Yeah.
we have a great weekend ready to roll.
Absolutely. It's been a little chilly the past couple of days. I
Yeah.
know you have some plans to grill this weekend. So
Always
hopefully,
the college football at home tailgate.
hopefully you have some sunshine and some warm-ish weather for that. I know you don't really like the cold, so
Yeah.
a little warmer temperatures would be good.
We'll do that.
Chris, can we do that for Matt? Maybe like 20 degrees warmer?
Actually, it's going to be some pretty good grilling weather as we get into Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to see a little bit of a warming trend. But this morning, though, stepping outside the door, it is chilly out there, depending upon where you're at. 44 in Lewis, doing pretty well there, a little brisk, but further inland, we're at 38, Redden, 38 in Harrington, 42 Seaford, and 42 Dagsboro, and even in the 40s now at some of our beaches, 47 in Bethany and 48 in Ocean City. Wind gusts right now upwards of 15 to say 18 miles an hour, and that is really preventing any frost formation across the area. We are under the influence of high pressure. Clear skies, pretty quiet as you make your way down the east coast. You have shower activity, northern portions of the Great Lakes, and yes, you need that jacket this morning, sunglasses, and always need that coffee this early in the morning. Plenty of sunshine through the morning and afternoon. Only going to top out in the lower 60s, so really a copy and paste forecast after what we had yesterday. The only thing is we're not going to be dealing with the strong gusty winds like we had at the coast. As we go into Saturday, a beautiful weekend, seasonable temperatures, and we trend milder into Sunday as we push the mid-70s. We will talk about rain chances. They don't come until overnight Sunday into Monday. I'll break that down a little bit more later on in my forecast. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. Our top story this half hour is the future of the Clear Space Theater. We could see action today by Mayor Stan Mills and city commissioners. Up for review is the deal that was presented last week, which would provide the theater a facility on the current site of the Cape Henlopen Senior Center on Christian Street. The endgame here is to keep the theater in the city and deter the theater company from going forward with a proposal to relocate in Lewis.
Here's some key details of what is titled as the Public-Private Development Agreement between the City of Rehoboth Beach and Clear Space Theater Company, Inc. The lease proposed is a 30-year triple net land lease. There's two 10-year options. This is a long-term agreement where a tenant rents undeveloped land. Clear Space will construct a new performing arts center for roughly 40,000 gross square feet on the parcel, and Clear Space shall have the freedom to select its own architect.
In Georgetown, the Supportive Housing Committee met Thursday to discuss the best use of local housing resources.
And Coast TV photojournalist Matt Hipsman shows us how that meeting went.
The purpose of the committee is to kind of update where we are from the 2012 task force report, which was pretty comprehensive on the subject of transitional housing, supported housing in Georgetown.
We do have a lot of the recovery houses, the sober living houses, the pallet village, where people are provided the resources to get the help that they need. The issue is the people that aren't getting into those programs.
Well, what the continuum does, it lays out all of the options that should be available. So we're looking at, well, where do we have these options? Where don't we have these options? Where we don't have them, do we want them?
Well, the housing continuum graph is very specific in that it spells out from homelessness to shelters, into supportive housing, into social housing, into affordable rentals, affordable housing, and then into market value.
The really important role that we have is to inform people. It's a matter of providing clear information to people so that they can make an intelligent assessment of what's here.
Today, Dewey Beach commissioners are reviewing the progress of a beach canopy ordinance that was passed in December 2024. During the meeting, commissioners will review results from a poll that was shared in the town's October 2025 newsletter. According to the ordinance, tents, other than baby tents, are prohibited on both ocean and bay beaches. A baby tent is defined as a portable pop-up shelter no larger than 36 by 36 inches. Canopies are allowed, but none unattended before 9 a.m. Closed-sided tents and enclosed structures other than baby tents are banned due to safety concerns.
Also at that meeting, assessing the 2025 summer season for the Dewey Beach Patrol. The town is getting a presentation on its Beach Patrol's summer. According to the patrol, they had 15 open water rescues. They responded to 32 major medical situations, and there was an average of 26 lifeguards staffed on a daily basis.
Rehoboth Beach Patrol also expected to present their report to its mayor and commissioners this afternoon. In the report, the patrol says they were able to meet their staffing goals for the year. The patrol also will review its second-place finish in the United States Life-Saving Association Mid-Atlantic Championships, along with the improved service that came from the new comfort station.
And let's take a look at some of the key pieces of data the Rehoboth Beach Patrol plans to review. These are from Memorial Day weekend through September 21st. The patrol had 26 major EMT responses, and they said they had 173 saves, which is the most in 4 years.
Later today in Rehoboth Beach, the commissioners could move to authorize a contract for a security program. Plans reviewed last week include installing a swing or drop-down gate arm and placing bollards along Rehoboth Avenue and the boardwalk. The estimated cost for Phase 1 is just over $1 million, with the initial money coming from savings on the Beach Patrol project. And if the contract is actually awarded today, the next step is to issue a notice to proceed by November 1st.
In traffic news, overnight road work starts Sunday on South US 13 in Fruitland. Crews will be replacing the stretch between West College Avenue and Main Street. Work will be Sundays through Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. You can expect lane closures and flagging operations through late fall.
Now getting a live look at Washington, D.C. on this Friday morning. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Washington today. Vice President J.D. Vance is tempering expectations. He says Russia and Ukraine aren't ready to agree on a ceasefire deal. Zelensky argues that could change if the U.S. provided more air defense systems.
Amy Kiley reports he's also expected to ask for a missile that's capable of reaching Moscow.
Tomahawk missiles are potentially on the line for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky as he visits President Donald Trump at the White House today. They have a long enough range for Ukraine to strike Moscow.
Exactly such pressure may work for peace.
Trump is floating the idea of providing Tomahawks to Ukraine. He says he mentioned that to Russian President Vladimir Putin in a phone call yesterday.
I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way. He didn't like the idea.
Trump says his phrasing was lighthearted. He also says he plans to meet with Putin in Hungary to discuss bringing the war to an end.
The president feels like great progress was made on this call. They also agreed to have a high-level senior staff meeting convened as early as next week.
Critics say Trump could do more to put pressure on Russia.
Increase sanctions, increase toughness as it relates to the oil, increase the weapons that go to Ukraine.
They don't want Putin getting another photo op with Trump without Ukraine getting peace.
If you make Russia vulnerable, they will negotiate at the table. If you don't, they'll just keep kicking the can down the road with you. Putin's playing, in my view, Trump right now.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, check your pantry why a popular rice brand is pulling some products from store shelves.
Also, revenge on the line. We'll tell you about that when Cape Henlopen looks to flip the script as they battle Sussex Central on the gridiron tonight.
And wind, flooding, and destruction. What's behind one of Alaska's largest airlifts ever? Stay with us on Coast TV News today.
Good Friday morning, Delmarva, as we take a live look into Laurel. Beautiful shot there. Sunrise coming up at 7:13. We're at 41 in Laurel. Cold start to our day. Clear skies through the morning. We're up to 47 by around 9 a.m., 52 by around 10 a.m. We're down to 37 in Redden, 42 Millsboro, 42 in Salisbury, and we're down to 47 in Bethany Beach. We have high pressure just to our northeast, funneling in that northerly wind flow, and you can take a look at the current leaf changes across the area. Beginning to see some patchy leaf changes here on Delmarva. As we go to the north into Jersey, parts of the Jersey are near the peak, and then as you push up into the Poconos, they are at the peak there. So we're going to begin to see those leaves really start to change here in the weeks ahead. Plenty of sunshine will continue through today and into the weekend, and we turn milder. We'll talk more about that and when our next chances of rain roll in coming up in that 7-day forecast. Matt.
Hey, Chris. In Alaska, a massive airlift of people underway after the remnants of a typhoon slammed the state's western coast this week. Extreme winds and storm surge knocked down homes and flooded communities. A pair of isolated coastal villages were the hardest hit, and the National Guard says it's one of the largest airlifts in recent Alaska history. The Red Cross said up to 2,000 people have been forced to leave due to storm damage.
Hundreds of families attended the annual Lewis Fire Department open house Thursday night. Children got to try on fire gear as well as get on fire trucks and see firefighters cut open a car, plus a live fire demonstration. From firefighting to crafts and face painting, the Lewis Fire Department says the goal is to show people what they do and inspire the next generation of firefighters.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
In Lewis tonight, Cape Henlopen football wants revenge. The Vikings got off to a 4-1 start last season. Then Sussex Central came to town, cruised past Cape by 2 touchdowns, and after that, the Vikings won just one more game. A year later, this is our game of the night because it's going to be another turning point for the Vikings. They're 6 games down this year, and they've only won 3 of them. They're losers of their last 2. Albeit against some great teams, Appoquinimink and Smyrna. While the Vikings couldn't run with the Jaguars, falling by over 30, Cape had the Eagles grounded last week, up 6 with less than 3 to play. Smyrna did sort of a last-second win, but Cape came to play with a contender, and head coach Chip Knapp knows the same is required against Sussex Central.
Well, I've known Coach Wells for maybe 20-plus years. We ran a camp together for about 15 years, so we go way back. And, you know, I know him, he's a great coach. I know how his team responds to his coaching, and, you know, they're always disciplined. They're always going to put themselves in a position to win the game. He makes great adjustments with the wing tee, and, you know, just overall a lot of good coaches over there, and so we're going to have our hands full with Sussex Central.
Kickoff tonight is at 6:30. Don't miss it, live on DSN. Have a great rest of your morning, Delmarva.
And here is what's coming up tonight on DSN. 5:30, Down and Distance, followed by the high school football pregame show, Scoops and Scores. That's at 6. And then, as you just heard, 6:30, live Henlopen Conference football when Cape hosts Sussex Central. Into the Trenches is at 10. Oh, Lisa. It's a bit of a sad edition of Nittany Game Week this week at 10:30. A lot of drama
on Happy Valley.
Yeah, unhappy Happy Valley. At 11, we have the final score. Along that Cape Central game, here are your DSN exclusives. All Friday night lights here, lots of action. At 6, Decatur travels to Easton, Parkside at North Carolina. At 7, it's homecoming in Milford. Also, it's the Battle of the Bell. That's when the Bucks host Lake Forest. And at 7, also, DMA is at Polytech. Week 7 of the NFL season underway. We have Sunday Night Football right here on Coast TV. And this week, you can catch the Atlanta Falcons and the San Francisco 49ers. Coverage begins at 7, and then stay right here for Coast TV News following the game.
Movie news now, including an honor for one of the year's biggest hits. Here's Douglas Hyde with today's Hollywood Minute.
Hey, brother. Be careful. I will.
Sinners was a huge hit with audiences and critics alike, and now it's set to get some love in the upcoming awards season. The Gotham Awards will honor the cast with an ensemble tribute at the ceremony in December. The event's organizers cited Michael B. Jordan's magnificent dual roles in the film and said the entire cast created one of the great cinematic experiences of the year.
She's entering the pumpkin contest, wanted a few tips.
This ain't some grow-your-own-salad school project. This is all-out vegetable warfare.
Looking for a non-scary, family-friendly Halloween film this month? Grow might fit the bill. The comedy is kicking off its week-long run in theaters and centers on a wild and wacky pumpkin growing competition. It's been described as a Halloween movie with a Christmas vibe.
It's about the power of the glow.
It's time to bask again in the glow of The Last Dragon. The 80s Kung Fu classic is celebrating its 40th anniversary with a return to the big screen. It's back in theaters next week for a limited run, with the same mix of music and martial arts that's made it a cult favorite over the decades. In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
And here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4 p.m.
Happy Friday. Hope you are ready for a busy weekend. But first, we hope you join us today at 4 on Coast Life because while it may be the off season, technically there's still plenty of events going on, including some events that we'd love to share with you in Ocean City. Plus, if you've been looking around your home and the carpet it's not doing it for you anymore, well, we got the guy that can take care of all of that. And if you had the opportunity to do college all over again, would you take it? We'll be discussing that and so much more today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you then.
Well, we are seeing temperatures in the 30s this morning, wall-to-wall sunshine through our morning and afternoon. Another beautiful day, not as windy with highs in the low 60s. Coming up, we'll talk about a spectacular weekend, and then we'll see some rain chances roll in. My full forecast right after the break.
The time is now 6:49 and we are taking a live look outside at Lewis this morning. And Chris, we were just talking off camera about the wind. We can see it there in Lewis with those flags blowing. It's definitely gonna be cool outside in Lewis.
Yeah, quite a brisk morning at the beaches. We're still seeing wind gusts upwards of 20, 25 miles an hour. The good news is we're not gonna be dealing with the 30, 35 gusts like we had yesterday. And because of those breezy conditions, we're really not seeing any widespread frost this morning. Typically, we have our first frost generally around the 23rd of October in Georgetown. First freeze rolls in normally around the 10th of November, but you can see west of Coastal Highway, we're down to 37 in Redden, 38 Harrington, 41 in Laurel, and we're at 43 in Dagsboro. As I mentioned, wind gusts upwards of 20 Indian River Inlet. Could see some higher gusts there through the morning up to 25, but calmer winds further inland. Small craft advisories remain in effect with some winds over the open waters up to 25 miles an hour, and those run through about dinner time tonight for the entire Delmarva coast. Small craft advisories in the Chesapeake up through about noon. Clear skies, and that is really going to be the theme through the day and into the weekend. High pressure just off to our northwest. That's going to sink southward. In doing so, we're going to see more of a southwesterly flow kick in. Our next weather maker is this cold front across the plains. That's going to be pushing east. In fact, severe weather going to be breaking out Saturday across the Tennessee River Valley. By the time it gets to our way, it's going to lose some steam, and it's expected to come in during the overnight hours of Sunday. Gorgeous sunrise here in Rehoboth. We're at 47 degrees there. Sunshine through the morning, 54 by around 10 a.m. On our way to a high of 62 for most locations. Lower 60s, give or take a degree or two. 62 in Cambridge, northwest winds 10 to 15. 64 in Salisbury. So you're making your way out to high school football games this evening. It's going to be a beautiful evening, but a chilly one at that. Pack the jacket and hoodie as temperatures are going to be falling through the 50s for those games. We stay clear and dry through the overnight. Another cold morning for our Saturday. Some patchy frost again possible for the inland areas as we get into the afternoon. Seasonable day with some high clouds. Beautiful afternoon as we get up close to 70. And by Sunday, southerly winds kick in, breezy conditions, and we are going to be in the mid-70s, and that's going to feel pretty good. As I mentioned this afternoon, gusts upwards of 20 miles an hour. As we go into Saturday, more of a southerly wind. Winds are going to be pretty calm Saturday. By Sunday, we have gusts upwards of 25, 30 miles an hour ahead of that front. So if you're making your way out this weekend, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous to do just about anything. 69 on Saturday, and we are at 75 into Sunday. So as I mentioned, the rain holds off until early morning hours, the wee hours of Monday morning. So a wet morning commute. I don't think we'll see any thunderstorms at this point, but we could see some moderate to heavy rainfall briefly, and then behind that we dry out. So it's a quick hitting system, not really expecting a whole lot of rain out of the system at this point. Clear skies into Tuesday, 71. We have another front coming through midweek, dropping us back into the mid-60s by the middle of next week. Matt.
Thank you, Chris. In Rehoboth Beach, this wooden walkway on Surf Avenue is set to be replaced. City officials tell us concrete was considered for the replacement, but they decided to keep the classic wood design after speaking with homeowners. The project is expected to cost about $18,000, should be complete by the end of the year, and the city says it will use the same boards as on the boardwalk.
People in Milford can expect more than 4 months of road closures starting October 27th. The city says Airport Road between Delaware Veterans Boulevard and Canterbury Road will be closed to all traffic starting at the end of the month. Until March 6th, it's for the construction of a roundabout. And the time is now 6:53, and we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
Today's coastal pet comes to us this hour from the Brandywine Valley SPCA. We have Cinnamon, who lost her previous home, no fault of her own, and looking to get a fresh start at her forever home. If you want to adopt Cinnamon or Sally, who we had last hour, just head on over to the Brandywine Valley SPCA.
And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them special. You can take a look at your screen.
Scan that QR code to get your friends to us, then watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
Well, it is Friday. It feels good, and it feels pretty cold outside as well. Temperatures starting off in the 30s and 40s. If you're making your way out this afternoon, maybe grabbing a pumpkin, looking pretty good there. Dry ground. Temperatures are going to only be in the low 60s this afternoon. Not as windy as where we were at yesterday, so that is good news. Plenty of sunshine with temperatures only in the low 60s. Now we'll see seasonable temperatures for our Saturday, 69. A really nice weekend. We'll see clouds really begin to increase late Sunday. A few high clouds Saturday, but 75 Sunday. And the good news is for now, the rain holds off until the wee hours of Monday morning. So Monday morning looks to be a little bit of a wet commute there. Could see some moderate rainfall briefly. But overall, looking pretty dry for most of next week. We could see another weak front push through Wednesday, but not really expecting much in the way of moisture there with that front. But pretty nice autumn-like stretch there, huh?
Thank you, Chris. Matt might go to the beach on Sunday at 75.
Sneak it in.
You know what I noticed there is that your 10-day, next Saturday, Sea Witch,
yes,
looking pretty good for that.
Yes, we're looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, nice. Well, thank you all for joining us here for Coast TV News today.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV News midday at 11.
And for even more news and coverage you can count on, including some fantastic weather today, hour by hour, you can download our Coast TV News, and you can also download our Coast TV weather app. Till we see you for Coast TV News midday at 11 a.m., have a great Friday morning, everybody.